I'm going to be making some sterile mix today for seed starting and for starting some ginger and turmeric. Here's how I make or sterile mix for seed starting. Here we have some perlite. I'll be using this to mix with our peat moss here. And I'm going to be using this as our measuring cup. We've already sanitized our cells. And here we have a kettle of boiling water to, we've already sanitized the stuff. So there are a few ways and portions to mix. It depends for what you're starting with. We're starting out some seeds today, with some brassica seeds, and we don't need that to have a lot of perlite in it because that can help to slow down germination for your seeds. So we're going to make a peat moss heavy seed starter. I'm going to make the portions now. And this mix that I'm doing, it's nice to sieve it. Hold on. Let's get a sieve. Let's get a sieve. Sieve. I'm gonna dump that. Seems to be working. Waiting. So for some stuff you don't need to sieve, but because we're gonna be planting up some small seeds, we want the best possible start for those seeds, and these big chunks are definitely a hindrance to germination. Sometimes they'll get trapped under this, two pieces like this, and then it's just not the best situation for them to start out. And they get dislodged, and you're watering, keeping your seeds substrate moist, and you're wondering why it's not germinating. It's so important to sieve it. It makes a whole world of difference. But we can use this chunky part for the turmeric and ginger and stuff like that. You definitely don't want to start out with this, all this. So it's best to wear a mask when you're doing this. We're doing this indoors. You definitely don't want to be inhaling all of this. So
Particulates.
best to wear a mask, but it makes such a big difference in terms of germination rate when you sieve. So this is a very controversial ingredient to start out with. How you want to talk about it?
Well, peat moss is found in peat bogs, and it has been over harvested, and it is messing up some ecosystems in parts of the world where peat bogs are, and that's a serious problem. And there isn't a lot of other good alternatives that you can find at the regular mainstream hardware stores. So
Comment below.
Yeah, comment below if you have some better recommendations for us. And then coco coir is an alternative that is, in abundance. It's a byproduct of the food system. So it's good to use, but it is high in salts. And it's also pretty expensive.
It's like goes from really hydrophobic to like really soggy. The coco coir.
Yeah.
Like it can hold on to a lot of water. The fibers are pretty strong.
Yeah.
So I felt like sometimes when we started out crops with delicate roots, when we were transplanting out with the coco coir, kind of felt like it didn't, like it wasn't a nice situation for the seedlings.
Yeah.
And then it has a high salt content, so I think with that you have to just soak the coco coir, you know, and throw off that water, soak it with some more tap water, throw that off, and that will help with the salinity,
Yeah.
removing that. Yeah.
We would definitely like recommendations and tips of how to avoid using peat moss, best practices with coco coir.
It
You
look nice, fluffy.
want to show the camera? It's a little backlit, but let's go in there. Nice, beautiful.
So we sieve the peat moss, and usually when we're potting up, we do equal parts peat moss, perlite, and compost. And that's for when we're planting stuff outdoors in containers. Now I think I'm going to do. I told Abby a 6-to-1 ratio of one perlite to 6 parts peat moss. So I'm gonna eyeball it. You get the math. I get to freestyle. You should use a mask when using it. So I'm just gonna add that to our mix.
Oh yeah, step away from that plume of particulates. Slick.
All right. And this is what it looks like. This to me could still take some more peat moss.
Keep more moss.
More moss. Because we're starting out with seeds, you know? And then when you start to, it still could go a little bit more. Just a bit more peat moss. Well, it's fine. So I'm adding some more peat moss to it. So play with it. You want a little bit of white dotted through there. It's just to help with drainage. Seeds starting to stick up.
Oh, thank you for the wink. So cute.
Here's a lovely seed starting blend. And this is what Abby and I are going to use. All right, let's add some hot water to it. So this is boiling water. And the peat moss is hydrophobic. It will reject the water a bit at first. So we left the mix to sterilize in the bucket with the hot water in there for a while. And then we came and removed the excess water. Make sure that it's moist and not soggy. And then we're going to fill up our trays for the different needs that we have. We are going to use those small cells over there along with these ones, this size cells, and that's what we're going to do. So we left the seeding substrate to cool. Now we're filling the trays. A quick note, when you're filling your trays, you want to make sure that you fill them in not compact but firmly and full up to the brims. Not too much so that it doesn't cross over. This is a mess, but enough to make sure that there's enough soil in there, and when you do water, it does not dislodge the seeds and then the seedlings. So make sure you fill up your tray as well. I like to rub the soil over it and rub the soil in, and then I tap it down and see how far it goes. When I tap it down, that means that's what I'm talking about. When you go and seed, you're like sometimes seeding in mid-air because The soil is just suspended in there in the little cell. And then you plant in that suspended soil. And then you wonder, why aren't my seeds germinating? That's why. The seeds are like mash up, but I just make use of it. Yeah. We might not need all of these because we're just starting onions now, and in a week or so we'll start some heading brassicas. So we don't need a lot, and we'll be growing a mixture of our ginger that we got from our garden last year, and we got some new one at the organic store, and we are going to start them up soon. I put them down in here on the shelf just to like help it stimulate bulbing. Some people put it in like a Ziploc bag with a moist paper towel, and that will kind of induce the sprouting.
The humidity, right?
But the humidity here in the basement is enough. We also are gonna start up some turmeric from our garden, and as you can see, they already have promising sprouting eyes. Sterilizing your seed starting substrate is super important because it keeps down the fungus gnats. It keeps bacteria, fungus from spreading. It gives them a good, nice, fluffy start base to germinate from. Also, sterilizing the mix. Making your own seed starting mix is a really, really good thing for your pocket. Wouldn't you say that, Abby? It's like definitely it's going to cost you way less to buy the ingredients, buy the peat moss, buy the coco coir, buy perlite. So yeah,
And you get exactly what you want.
and you get exactly what you want. There are some options that you can choose. I think for perlite, when we're doing our potting mix for our container plants, we like to use rice hulls. Those are a good option. If you don't,
Alternative.
that's a good alternative for perlite. Um, what else?
Coco coir.
Yeah, the coco coir instead of the peat moss. All you have to do with the coco coir is just to do some more pre-sterilization work. So you have to soak that coco coir a few times, a few rounds, to make sure that you're soaking it, throwing off that water, soaking it again multiple rounds so that you can lessen that salt content. But I do find that using a straight coco coir and perlite is not the best. So still you want to add in some worm castings. No, not worm castings. Still you want to add in some peat moss. If you're doing a sterile mix, just a little bit in there to improve the texture. I'll be removing the excess water from the mix. You don't want a soggy, wet mix. You want it to be nice, moist, and fluffy, but firm in the cell. Yeah, not dripping. And also, yeah, that if when it's not sitting in water, it's a better chance for it not to spread fungus and bacteria and soil-based diseases. Yeah, so this is what we're doing. This is time of year. We are working on cells. We're working on doing the prep work. When we're doing our potting mix for our containers. We do equal parts compost, rice hulls, and peat moss or coco coir, and that's a really, really, really good mix. Just equal parts, easy to remember. And for this specific ceramics, we did 6 parts peat moss and 1 part perlite. When we did that, we realized we needed peat moss, so you could go up to 10-to-1 ratio. So depending on what you're planting, if you were planting something that required a bigger seed like okras or stuff like that, you could go for the 6-to-1 ratio. But this is a great way to start out with the tiny seeds, the onions, brassicas. This is a good mix. For the turmeric that we're going to start potting up and putting on heat mats, those will start too in a sterile mix. And we'll be putting it in these little ones here at the right and putting them on a heat mat with a humidity dome. We already sterilized it and it's good to go. Don't just sterilize your soil and not sterilize everything else. Sterilize everything, and so that you're starting out with a healthy, disease-free, killing all the fungus gnat eggs in the peat moss. Yeah, I hope that helps. Peace.